We are live, and there's something that's on my mind that I wanted to kind of flesh out with you while we're waiting for people to hop in here on the program. So I've been thinking a lot about, streaming and physical media and the AI and things like that. And AI can paint now, so it's got a lot of us here in the art community a little bit kind of concerned. I mean, some of these backing tracks, I hear some automation, the drums and things like that, because I don't have a drum kit or the skills to pay the bills when it comes to the drums. Either way, it's like, is physical media dying? That's always the question every couple of years we ask. Like when Kindles came out, people were worried about books going away, but it turns out, mathematically speaking, they're selling more books than ever. So, and CDs are still being sold. And I'm a weirdo. I'll admit it. I buy CDs still to this very day. One, because I like the artwork, and two, all things being equal, which they never really are, is that the artist actually gets a better piece of the action when you buy the CD. And there's also psychopaths out there that still buy VHS tapes, despite, the image quality of a VHS tape. You can't argue that the image quality in a VHS tape is better now, or even then in the 90s, than any other time in film history. But there's still psychopaths out there who have VHS players, even though to normal people, it's just a hunk of junk in the garage. And I still have a CD player in my car, and I have an entire bookshelf dedicated to compact discs, for the reasons I've outlined before. But also there's the argument against censorship, and I'll explain what I mean. So, with things being in the cloud, and listen, streaming has been very good to me. I can't complain. It's allowed me to connect here with you guys and release tons of high-quality music at an alarming rate. And believe you me, if I had the audience and the demand presented itself, I would release a lot more CDs, but the fact of the matter is I don't have the audience to do that, and so spending the capital to do that is just not worth it. But when it comes to censorship, you have to think, okay, well, who are the censors? And the archetype of the censor is somebody like Anthony Comstock. Anthony Comstock, the head of the New York Society Against Vice, or for the suppression of vice, excuse me. And their whole goal was to completely eliminate from public discourse. I don't know if can I say sex on YouTube? Are we still here on YouTube if I say sex? He didn't want people talking about sex, so he was completely against contraception, abortion, and things like that, and was totally for, suppressing all of those conversations and those things, and upholding of Christian values. Or another good example of the archetype of the censor is Tipper Gore, trying to save that affects people like me who release music with the advent of the parental advisory sticker on trying to save the youths of America from that rap music, because heaven forbid people who don't live in the inner cities get exposed to what's actually happening to the people in the inner cities. Or I've only encountered in my lifetime the archetypal censor once in my life, and that was as a youth at a private Christian school where they didn't want us reading Harry Potter, because heaven forbid kids establish, a relationship with the great literary works of their time, or they didn't want us playing with Pokemon cards and things like that, but these people make interesting debate partners because they're so convinced of their point, they're so pure in their argument. But what's wrong with the archetype of the censor is, and why I'm not afraid of them, is because inevitably, time after time, and I consider myself a fan of history, so you see, if you study this stuff, that time after time, they always are crushed beneath the weight of their own self-righteousness. So the loud people on Twitter, or the loud people on the college campuses these days, while there's reason to be concerned, I don't, in the long term, fear these people, because they always end up failing. And the censors you have to be afraid of are the middle management at like Fox, Disney, or Interscope Records, Warner Brothers, any record label, any big studio. And the reason being is because their solution to any type of controversy is, he said, what? Cancel the show, pull the plug, remove it from the streaming platform. And that's kind of where the danger with streaming comes in, is because you're never more than a flick of a switch away from, losing the entirety of Seinfeld or Cheers. And who would love to have that kind of power, by the way? Vladimir Putin would love to be able to flip a switch and have the entire, Russian population be completely cut off from, Seinfeld or Cheers or Scrubs or things like that. But physical media, on the other hand, is how you fight back against the censor, because without breaking some serious laws, they can't take away. They can take Seinfeld off the air. They can't take away your Seinfeld DVD collection. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that your house burns down. Okay, well, State Farm will replace your Seinfeld DVDs. They'll replace my entire Bob Dylan catalog on CD. But if Bob Dylan says the wrong thing, which he's done in the past around the wrong type of people, they'll pull his entire discography from iTunes. And so you're left without that. And, you might not even know, kids today, that there was such a man as stunning as Bob Dylan, which is another thing that's scary about it. So, with streaming, everything is in the cloud, right? So if my apartment burns down, like, I only lose my CD collection, but if the stream, the cloud, due to an EMP or an actual war or some type of, scary government decides to erase the cloud, you take 1 million people with you. So all this to say is, don't make fun of people for buying CDs or VHSs and things like that, because they're actually helping to support artists. They do get a better piece of the action, if you buy the painting directly from them, or, the DVD or what have you. And also, you're fighting back against censorship, and there's not very few things we don't like here on Musical Hangout, and censorship is one of the things that we don't like. So, support independent artists, buy physical media. As Charles Laughton famously said, they can't censor the gleam in my eye. Salute. Let's do some music. What do you say?
Woo! Hallelujah!
Hallelujah!